Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. I'm your host, Jeff Marconette Jr., and award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker. Now, I am so pumped up tonight because tonight's guest is going to be amazing. Nathan has really accomplished a lot in his life, and I want to show him how appreciative we are of having him on this show. So I ask you guys if you would please share this video out. Invite all kinds of people to watch it. In fact, I ask you if you would please tag 3 people in the comments, just 3 people, and then just pay attention. Ask as many questions as you would like, because this guy has gone through a lot in his life and he can surely help you out. So I also ask if you would give us all kinds of thumbs up, give us all kinds of hearts, give us frowny faces, give us cry faces, give us angry faces, whatever. Just help us trick the algorithms on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. So, with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage the man, the myth, the legend, Nathan.
Hey, Jeff, thank you for having me so much. Really glad to be here. And that is an awesome introduction. I don't think anything I say could top that. Well, hopefully, I will do my best.
Yeah, well, I've left a lot of room for you, so I think you really can. I don't think it'll be an issue for you.
Well, again, thanks for having me. Just as a quick introduction, again, my name is Nathan Gutierrez. I'm 39 years old, live in California. I am a professional speaker. I'm also a coach, a life coach. My business is Wheel Life Coaching, and that's for wheelchairs. So it's WHEEL, Wheel Life Coaching. Um, I love helping people with challenges. I have a physical disability. We'll get into that in a little bit. But so many people have gone through so many things in life, and oftentimes they don't know where to move or how to move forward after they go through some type of adversity. So I'm here to just help people, to serve, and to make the world a better place.
Darn it, I forgot. I had muted the mic and I had trouble getting it turned off. So, but thank you for that. That introduction was great, and I know that you do awesome work. So, I want to hop on into the actual part of the show. So, I know that you have gone through a lot in life. Now, you see, I was in a severe car accident when I was 17. I was in a coma 2.5 months and in the hospital 3.5 months. So I know that there are things that are going to come people's way, and they're going to have to grow in order to get through those things. So, has there been anything that you have had to grow through to overcome?
Oh, absolutely, Jeff. I think one of the biggest things when you go through adversity is the mindset of where am I now and where am I going from here? Whether that's something you were born with or whether you went through an illness or an accident, something like that. It's never easy to deal with adversity, but it does shape you into something else. And really, I think you have two decisions. First decision being you can stay the same, you can give in, you can let the depression overtake you and really throw a pity party for yourself and never really get out of that despair. Or you can take that adversity that you went through and you can say, you know what, yes, I did go through this, but not only what can I learn from this, but what can I teach other people as well? How can I be a help and a resource and an inspiration for other people? And but before I move forward, it's not something that I look forward to in terms of wanting to become an inspiration or seeking to become an inspiration. But really, if that's what people gain from it, then I'm happy to help in any way possible. But my goal is to get people to move forward, to see that there are real positive possibilities, and triumphing over adversity that we face in life.
That is awesome. I thank you so much for that. So, but you have to kind of explain what you've had to go through, like in life.
Yeah.
I'm curious of those things.
Yeah, so I was born with a physical disability called spina bifida. Some
Can,
people watching
can
may have.
you explain that a little bit? Because I don't think a lot of people know what that really is.
Yeah, sure. So spina bifida is one of the most common, and it still may be the most common physical birth defect in the world. At one time it was. I don't know if that's still the case. Back when I was born, the statistic was one in about every 1,000 births had it. Now I think it's about one in every 1,400. In a nutshell, basically what it is uh, I was born with a hole in my back at a certain level on my spine, and for me, it was at the lumbar one or L1 level. And again, when I was born, you could actually see the nerves in that area. You could see the spinal column, and so those nerves were damaged. So whatever those nerves controlled, those and everything below that were impacted. And so in my case, it affected my ability to walk. So I'm considered a severe case. There are three types of spina bifida. I won't get into that because that gets really, really technical. But there are people out in the world walking around today that don't know they have spina bifida, and they usually don't find out until they go into their doctor for some sort of physical, be it for a new job or something like that. Again, I'm considered a severe case because I am in a chair and I've never been able to walk without some sort of braces or some sort of a mobility device or assistance.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you are able to walk. It's a miracle that they found it. Well, if it was more severe, then it was probably easier for them to diagnose it. But I'm glad you got an early diagnosis and you could learn how to live your life with the different abilities that you have. You see, I don't like the word disabilities. That word is just limiting. I think it limits people's belief. It limits their ability to go beyond what they are doing now. So I always say different abilities. So it's just a little thing in there that I don't know.
No, and that's a great way to put it. I've heard several people put it different ways. For me, it doesn't really matter so much because when people ask me, what do I call you? What do I say about you? And my response is always, well, my name is Nathan. You can just call me that. I don't have to be the guy in the wheelchair, the guy with the disability, the guy who has a difference in his life, something like that. I'm just Nathan. So however people want to see me is up to them. But I just prefer being called by my name.
Yeah, I understand that. That's really cool. And that is a funny way of putting it because I never thought of it that way. That what do you want me to say about you? How can I describe you? Well, you can start by calling me my name. That
That's it.
is fantastic. So, how in the world were you able to get to the point where you could live a normal life outside of your diagnosis?
Well, to be honest, it took me a long time, and longer than it should have. Looking back on it now, I'll tell you there was one instance in my life that really changed it, and I know exactly when it was. It was in June 2009. I was well into adulthood at that point. I was at home. In fact, I wasn't feeling well. For the previous 2 weeks up to this date, I was getting up in the morning after sleeping 10 or 12 hours easily. I was immediately getting sick. I couldn't eat. there was something obviously wrong with me. I was in college at the time, so a lot of ways I attributed it to just college stress. But finally, my mom, I was still living at home at the time, and she took me to the doctor and she said, "Look, I know you're technically an adult and I can't really force you, but I really think there's something going on with you, and you need to get you checked out." So thank God, it really saved my life because we went to the doctor, and just a few days later, I got a call sitting at home waiting for the results, and I was told by my doctor in LA that I was in renal failure or kidney failure, and I was at the worst stage possible.
Oh,
And I needed to start dialysis immediately. And actually, the doctor said I needed to get to the emergency room that night. So that was the moment when I realized that the paralysis from my physical disability, the spina bifida, was the least of my problems. Growing up, I always wanted to be a tall basketball player. I wanted to dunk the ball. I thought that's what people loved, especially the girls. I thought they wanted the tall basketball player. But when I got that diagnosis, I realized that having the spina bifida was really insignificant in comparison.
yeah,
And then that led me on a 3-year journey of dialysis, going through a transplant, a lot of things happening in between those times. But that's really what helped me overcome my challenges with the spina bifida.
yeah. It's difficult. Like I know from my own experiences that when you're going through something and people are telling you that you're not going to be able to do something, or you physically are just unable to at the moment, it's really difficult to get that through your mind. Like, I know I can do this. Why am I not able to? And
Yeah,
that's one of the hardest things to me.
it is, and it's really a mindset because I think we all, as a society, we have a culture of expectations on how we see ourselves and how we view other people, and what is normal and what is not normal. And someone like myself, I've never been normal to most people. I think that everybody has their own definition of normal, and I think that complicates it even more so. And it took me a really long time to really accept that I'm okay not being the normal that other people expect.
Yeah,
I'm just me, and me is great because I can bring a unique perspective to the world and help others with
yeah.
my normal, unique self.
Yeah, that is so true, because when once you go through something or grow through something, you take so many things away from the challenges that you've had, and that's a great way to teach people things. Now, I'm not saying that we need to go out there and make people get injured too in order to help them achieve happiness. But and I want to put a warning in here that don't go out looking for danger just because that's a way that you're going to find your purpose, and you're going to hopefully discover that there's more to life. But I don't know. I feel like I just kind of put my foot in my mouth there. Uh, um, but so do you have any tools, tips, or tricks to help people get that mindset that they can accomplish things in their life?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff. So number one, I'm upfront and honest. I've had a very supportive family from day one. My mom has been my biggest cheerleader. She's the one who really pushed me to be as independent as possible. It wasn't easy. A lot of people look at me now, well into adulthood, and they say, "Oh, well, yeah, of course you're successful. I mean, look at you. You don't have any challenges." But let me tell you, growing up, it wasn't easy. I mean, there was a lot of tears involved, and a lot of sweat, and sometimes blood involved, just depending on what it was. But a perfect example was I was born in LA, and when I was about 5 years old, we moved to my hometown a few hours away. And for some reason, my dad decided to buy a 2-story house, and I think that's everybody's goal is to have a big house.
Yeah.
And it wasn't big, but it was a two-story, and it was the first time we'd ever had one of those. And of course, my room was upstairs. And my mom said, "You know what? You're going to learn how to climb those stairs." And I did. It wasn't without a lot of fighting
Yeah.
along the way, and it was daily. There were daily fights. I really didn't want to go to my room, and it was especially difficult when I did something that got me in trouble to where I had to be sent to my room, because then it was double punishment. I had to climb my stairs and then go to the room. And to this day, I remember there were 14 stairs. It might as well have been a mountain that was 14,000 feet tall. But looking back on that now, I think that was one of the first things that helped build character in me. So really, having that support system in place is key. I also want to say that I have a younger sister who does not have a disability. She's beautiful. She's smart. In fact, she just got married earlier this year to a great guy. Um, and she's always been my best friend. We fought like any other siblings growing up, but she was always there supporting me, and we have a great relationship now. And then I would be remiss to leave out my dad, of course. Even though my mom and dad got divorced when I was about 9 years old, so it's been about 30 years now. I've always had a good relationship with him. I saw him every other weekend, like a lot of kids who go through divorce do. And one thing that everybody should know is that my dad was my kidney donor when I had my kidney transplant.
That's
So,
cool.
so my mom gave me birth, and then my dad, was part of
Give
a
you life.
rebirth in my life. And so it was really cool to have that part of my story. And I can tell you today, Jeff, I wouldn't be here without my family. Secondly, um, well, I should say this first, but secondly, I'm a Christian. I'm a very strong Christian, and I have beliefs. And I know that others may not agree with that, and that's okay. I respect other people's beliefs, whatever they may be. But I have to tell you, with my beliefs, those are what got me through the hard times. And to this day, I still depend very much on my belief system.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm putting these in the comments so people will be able to write them down later on. But yes, I've noticed that the support system, like everybody talks about that. That is something very common when people have something good going on in their life, that they've had a great support system. And I've noticed that having faith or your belief system is really good for a lot of people in their life. So what would you tell somebody that doesn't have faith or doesn't have a good support system? How can they develop that support system if they didn't grow up with that support system?
That's a great question. Support systems aren't always family, and they don't have to be family. They don't have to be somebody you're related to. Oftentimes we talk about our church family. If you're a believer and you attend some sort of service, so we talk about that kind of family. We talk about sometimes our best friends are our family. We talk about sometimes our coworkers are family. It really just depends on who's always been there for you. And if you don't have anybody in your life right now, you can find somebody. There are support groups out there. We have the technology in the world to connect with almost literally anyone in the world. Before the last week or two, Jeff, I mean, you and I didn't even know each other.
Yeah.
And, here we are. And we met through a connection, a mutual connection of ours. And really, so there really is an opportunity for people to become connected with somebody in the world. There is somebody out there who loves you, who cares for you, and who will believe in you. You just have to find them, and let them know what you need, and let them know how they can help you, whatever that looks like.
Is there a support system like that outside of faith, outside of like that? Let's say somebody can't find a support system. What is the best way for a person to find a support system? And I know that's kind of what I just asked you, but are you able to offer like a guidance to a certain place or something for people that might be struggling at the present moment?
Well, I think you can find a life coach out there. And I know that some people may roll their eyes about life coaching, and sometimes it's because they had a bad experience with it. But I have a coach myself that I work with. Now it's outside my family, that's outside my friends. And my coach has really helped me, both in personal and in business, really helped me define the direction that I want to go and help me figure out those little steps that I need to take in order to be successful. So, there are online support groups. There are groups in person that you can find wherever you may live, family, friends, coworkers. If you watch shows like this, if you get on podcasts, there are people out there. So really, with the invention of the internet and the way that the world is connected these days, you'd have to try really hard to not find at least one person that you can connect with.
Yeah, we have to thank Al Gore for this thing called the internet, right?
I
Well,
suppose that's what he said.
yeah, I don't really think that's true. But so I know that there are support systems outside of your church family, outside of your friends, outside of the people around you. But that you can look those up on the internet. All you have to do is go to Google and put in support system. I don't know what's going to come up, but hopefully you'll be able to find somebody that can help you out there in the world, because life is hard. Life gets hard. I understand that. And you don't have to do it alone. There are people out there just like Nathan, just like me, that are willing to help. And in fact, I in my group called Make Every Second Count Movement on Facebook, I post a challenge most nights for people that they can do that next day. And it will help them develop that winning mindset in life. And it's so important that you guys have a winning mindset and a growth mindset, because it's just important. And I want you guys to realize that. So I also want to ask you, do you have any contact information you would like to give people?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a website,
Oh, that's
www.wheellifecoaching.com.
cool. It's
Yeah, I
like
figured,
real life.
I feel like it rhymes with wheel life. So it's wheel. So it's WHEELLLIFE coaching.com. So there are two L's in there, not just one. Wheellifecoaching.com. I'm also available on Instagram, and my handle is at wheellife_coach. And again, it's two L's in wheel life,
All
at
right.
wheellife_coach.
Real life. So it's kind of like real life, but it's real life.
Exactly.
That's neat. I like that. So what actually do you are you able to help people through their troubles in life, but just by your own experiences? Does that help you teach other people that they can do it?
Absolutely. And I think that we all rely on our background and our experience to help other people. And that's exactly what I do in my coaching. I take what I've learned, and I've created a system to where people can come in and uh, get the right mindset, or figure out what they want to do first, figure out what that first goal is. We work on the mindset, and then what we do is we create an entire comprehensive roadmap to get them to achieve that goal. So it's not a short-term thing. It's not something that's going to be fixed overnight. There is no such thing, at least anything that's sustainable. But I'm committed to helping people find out what that goal is in life and overcoming those barriers. And oftentimes, Jeff, let me say this, is that oftentimes the biggest barrier is ourselves. And what I tell people is that our mindset can be more paralyzing than my legs and my disability.
Now that's those are some strong words right there.
Absolutely.
Just because I don't know exactly what it is you were going through. I won't even try to say that I can relate, but I have gone through some experiences that are similar in a little ways. So I can only imagine what you were going through. That's pretty dang fantastic though. So excuse me. So I thank you so much for taking the time. Oh, wait, hang on. I forgot there's one other thing that I want to ask you. So I know from reading your bio that you have accomplished a lot. And can you explain a little bit about what you have accomplished and what that means to you once you were, well, I know you've been in a wheelchair your whole life, but what's it mean to you that you are able to do this stuff and you're in a wheelchair?
Well, I played wheelchair basketball for a number of years, about 20 something years. I started when I was about six. And I started out with an adult team. And up until my transplant that I was able to play, I couldn't play after that just because if I fall, I don't want to hurt the kidney. So I had to kind of retire from that, so to speak. But since then, I've coached high school basketball. I've coached both boys and girls. So that was interesting. And it's not something I'm currently doing. It's something I really miss. Other things I've done, I'm a two-time TEDx speaker. You can find my second TEDx online if you just type in my name and TEDx. The first one wasn't recorded, unfortunately. I don't know what
Oh,
happened there. So that's not there, but my last one was, and it was about 10 years ago, so it's old, but you can find it. I'm also a trained professional speaker, if I can get that right. I was trained by one of the top $1 million speakers in the National Speakers Association, and I graduated from one of the most prestigious speaking schools in the world. So that same school produced a lot of the big names that you know and hear about today. So, I'm looking for opportunities to speak to associations, corporations, nonprofits, other businesses that would like to bring me in and to talk about overcoming adversity and mindset, which is crucial, and partnering with other organizations that really support people with disabilities and other challenges that they've gone through to help them lead them to independence and success.
that is awesome. But I read that you developed a fully accessible baseball field.
I did. So about 10 years ago, I was working for a physical therapy company in my hometown, and it they developed a nonprofit organization called the League of Dreams. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to create a baseball field for kids with disabilities. And so we had a baseball program, we had a basketball program, but we didn't really have a place to do baseball that was safe enough for younger kids in the event that they were going to fall out of their chairs or off their walker or their crutches or anything like that. So the CEO of the company told me that it had been a goal of his for a number of years. So when he brought me in as the director of the program, and I was only there for about a year and a half, but in that year I was able to work with our local elected officials, one of our congressmen actually, and then our recreation and parks department, and we were able to develop a fully accessible rubber padded surface baseball field. And it's really small. It's only about the size of a T-ball field, but it was one of the first in the state of California.
That is amazing. So you also went to Washington D.C. and spoke with the Department of Labor.
I did, and that was part of another job that I had a few years ago. So the Department of Labor, or DOL for short, they occasionally issue a challenge to workforce development, and that's just a fancy word for organizations that help people find jobs. And so
Yeah.
I was in workforce development at the time. I was an analyst back then, and so the DOL issued this challenge to help figure out how we can develop this program to help people who were deaf and hard of hearing. And it was a national challenge, obviously. And so I was asked to lead by my boss an interdepartmental uh, team that would come up with some sort of program. So we took part of the challenge, and when we finished, we submitted it to the DOL. They came back to us and they said, "Hey, we selected you as one of the top 14 teams in the United States, and we actually want to fly you out to Washington D.C. to speak at the
Wow.
White House with DOL officials and tell us about your program." So I did. I had the opportunity to go out there, speak with some DOL officials. I didn't meet the president, but I did meet some DOL officials. This was about 6 years ago now, and that was a really cool experience. I'd never been to DC, but that was quite an accomplishment, and I was
Yes.
very, very happy about that. And I will say that out of that program, once we implemented it, we were able to successfully place 25 individuals in my hometown who were deaf and hard of hearing into permanent full-time employment.
That is amazing just to find somebody that is working on things like that. I find that very admirable. Thank you so much. But guys, I know this show's run a little long tonight, and I apologize for that. But hey, you have to live sometimes. So, again, I'm Jeff Marconette Jr., the award winning international Make Every Second Count speaker, and I am reminding you that we're here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But you guys out there, including you, Nathan, need to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. You need to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey guys, I'll see you back here next week. Thank you again, Nathan. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.
Not a problem.